Mm-hmm. Right then, hello and welcome to round 9 of Invictus Racing League's No Assist tier. I am your one-off commentator for this evening, H Racing Green, live from the Red Bull Ring, and alongside me in the commentary box is F1 driver for the Sauber team, Apollo. Say hello. So we have got 13 cars here for the 9th round of this championship. Just 3 more to go after this one, so it really is crunch time in the championship. And as we take a look at the standings for the leagues, Speed Queen holds a fairly commanding lead as far as I'm aware over Sargent in second. I'll just take a quick look. That fit level load. We head out on track. Who have we got? We've got Sargent out on track in the McLaren with Mero D2 and Joel Lance Stroll there in the Force India, so a change of team for the Canadian there, and Joel here in the Williams. So Apollo, what are you expecting from this Austrian Grand Prix? Quite a high speed circuit. Do you expect some close battles? Oh, we've done that too quietly. Just messing around with some audio mix levels. I'll go for that about there. Your microphone is quite quiet there, Apollo. So as we run with Joel, as he heads into the hairpin at turn 2, just about hits that apex, and he accelerates now along the back straight, opens the DRS. This is no assist, so the cars are on realistic performance. Yeah, that's better. So the cars are on realistic performance, which means the faster drivers will be in the more handicapped cars, while those who perhaps don't quite have the pace will be in some of the faster ones. This Williams, a pretty middle-of-the-road machine, has its strengths, of course, straight line speed, so potentially we could be seeing them qualifying fairly well. So yeah, taking a look at the championship, yes, Speed Queen currently 37 points clear of Sargent. She has had quite the run in this league so far. Oh, and there's a crash for the for Joel at the first corner. Yep, ran a little bit too wide. So Sargent has set the pace at the moment. Oh, that's a beat immediately by Lance Stroll with a 107.8. Yes, just under half a second clear of Sargent in the McLaren. Sargent in the McLaren probably going to be struggling a little bit here. It's a power circuit. The Honda engine in that McLaren not ideal. Yeah, takes an early apex there actually, not quite using all the road available to him on the right hand side, so trying to keep the trajectory fairly narrow. Runs a little bit wide at the penultimate corner. Pretty clean through there, yep, and he heads to the line. He's only got a 108.3 on the board. Doesn't improve, or if he does, it's invalid. Runs wide at the first corner again. So noticing there, we've got a couple of drivers going for 2-lap runs, and as many drivers will know, this is a pretty high wear circuit, so running 2 laps on a set of ultra softs might compromise the first stint a little bit. just take a look at Challenger, who's coming around to the end of his lap in the Mercedes currently. What can he do? Opens the DRS, heading towards the line. He goes last of the cars that have set a time so far. That's not an ideal time. No, I think there must have been an error in that. Similarly from Joel, he has not set a representative lap time yet. Oh, and he runs very wide at the second to last corner, and he bails on it, pulls into the pits. Speed Queen Championship leader currently out. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, we're yet to see sort of representative time from Mike, Craig, Gamer, those guys. I think those guys in sort of Mercedes-powered midfield cars are going to have a pretty solid chance at taking pole here, because of course, being a fairly decent chassis with a powerful Mercedes engine at a track like this is a pretty winning combination. So we've got most cars in the pits. Yeah, Challenger, sorry. Yeah. Finishes that. Yeah, does a 117.7, so not a little way off the pace. I was part of no assist last season, so sort of fairly cognizant of Challenger's pace. He's sort of learning no assist, so I don't think he really expects to be fighting at the top, but keeping just continuously doing laps, he'll constantly improve his speed. And he's not making too many errors. It's pretty clean, pretty smooth driving. So with 4 minutes 40 left on the clock, a few cars heading out on their second runs. If we take a look at the order currently, we've got Lance Stroll in the Force India on pole. It's then Mera D2 in the Ferrari third, Mera D2 in the Ferrari second, Sargent and Speed Queen are third and fourth in the two McLarens. It's less than a tenth separating them. And Malk is fifth. Now, interestingly, Malk was running on the soft tyre, so that's not his ultimate pace. Yep. Yeah, so he'll certainly be looking to score some solid points with that car. And actually, as we were talking, Challenger, set a 1 minute 10.2, so closing in on the lower end of the field now. Done lots of laps on that set of tyres, so if he does qualify in the top 10, he'll want to be careful that he's not using extremely worn tyres at the start of the race. We're riding on board with Joel at the moment, who's currently in P10 with a 122, so not a representative lap time set yet. Yeah. Sargent with a 108.1 then, so he's a little, just under 2/10 off pole at the moment. Take a look at Joel as he heads through the second sector, or through the final sector I suppose actually, towards this difficult right-hander. It's almost blind on entry. Oh, cuts it a little bit. That may well be an invalidation for that. We'll have to see as he accelerates back out the final corner again. Not a great drive off of there. Will this count? It does not. Yeah, for a first lap, that's not a bad shout. Malk there actually is now on the super soft tyres, so he'll be aiming to improve a little bit on his pace, but I don't think he'll be challenging quite for pole. He is in the Red Bull, but I think with those tyres on, he'll probably be looking for a top 5 at best. Yeah, absolutely. There's a yellow flag in sector 2, that clears pretty quickly. I'm not sure. I don't know. Now, impressively, Nicky is in the Haas here, so the Haas is not a quick car. But Nicky is clearly impressed enough with his pace in this round, in this league, sorry, to warrant being in such a low-end car. He's currently 9th in the championship with 27 points, 3 points off Veni Vidi Vici. Ahead. Carries good speed. It's a 109.1, so an improvement, but stays 9th. Oh, goes straight on at the first corner, and that is... Ooh, Mero has spun on the exit of turn 1 there, knocked the end off of his Ferrari front wing, so that's his session over. Yep. Craig in the Ferrari currently on an outlap. He's currently in 5th. It's a 108.4 from him, so a little way, a couple of tenths, sorry, off of his Ferrari counterpart. What can he do now as he comes around the final corner? There's 25 seconds left in the session, so he'll get just the one lap at this. And as we ride on board, he heads up the hill towards the first corner. Nails his braking point just after the 100-meter board. Little lock-up. Uses enough of the outside curve to carry speed through the corner and accelerates up the hill towards turn 2. And now braking. Hits his marks again. Yeah. Won't have cost him too much. Gets a nice exit off the corner. Opens the DRS. Some cars crossing the line. Sargent doesn't improve. He stays 2nd in that. Romeo is still 5th. Malk, Nicky, Challenger and Gamer. Gamer not setting a time at all. Stifler retires. He has not set a time. He'll be starting dead last. Here comes Craig through this left-hander. Now the right. It's flat out all the way into the braking zone 4. Or the very light braking zone 4. The second to last corner. Changes down to 6th. Doesn't quite use all the road available. And again, he's nearly running wide at the final corner. Keeps it on the circuit to avoid an invalidation. He crosses the line. He goes 2nd place. Yeah, absolutely. I think perhaps without that mistake in the final couple of corners, he could well have been on pole there. Absolutely. Both McLaren drivers, actually, the 2 championship leaders, Sargent and Speed Queen, reversed from their championship order for this grid, but both of them putting in a pretty solid performance to lock out the 2nd row. Gotta wait for the timer to tick down. 1:13 to go. There we go then. Timer has ticked down. There you go. That's your qualifying lineup. That's how the grid will start. It's Lance Stroll from Craig on the front row. Sargent and Speed Queen in the McLarens on row 2. It's Mero and Romeo in 5th and 6th. It's Joel and Malk in P7 and P8. Malk on the Supers. Nicky in the Haas is 9th. Challenger sneaks into the top 10, but does have very old tyres to start on. Mike without a representative time in 11th. Gamer and Stifle and no time at all. They'll start 12th and 13th. We'll have to push the PS button to avoid copyright strikes from FOM. There we are then. So drivers making their strategy calls now. I think we'll probably be expecting a 2-stop in this race, potentially a 1-stop for those guys starting on super softs. As a driver in an IRL league, Apollo, what would you be looking at for this race? Right, we've still got a loading screen at the moment, so I'm presuming everyone's selecting their strategies and that we don't have some kind of problem. Guessing we're waiting for someone to press go on their strategy. There we go, drivers have readied up. About to start this Austrian Grand Prix. Should hopefully be a close one. The slipstream here is pretty important, so with those 2 long straights in the first part of the lap. Definitely into the turn 3 hairpin and into the turn 4 right-hander at the bottom of the hill. There we go, we've got no sound again. Let's come back, there we go. Oh, that's Lance Stroll in the Force India leading the field away. It's Craig in the Ferrari lines up behind him. Drivers will be warming their tyres. It's a fairly overcast sky, so potential for rain if those clouds persist. Oh yeah, I've actually forgotten. I'm forgetting all the things I need to put on the board. We want lap gap to leader, we want tyre enabled. There we go. Right, we've got everything on the screen now. So yes, Mike and Game have gone for the soft, so they might be trying the 1-stop to go long early on, so it's just some supers in the second part of the race. It's 36 laps since it's such a short lap. There are plenty of them, and with such a high wear rate, that does lead to a few different strategies. Some of these AI cars have completely missed their boxes. We've got McLarens and Mercedes miles to the left of the line. But there we go. We're building up. We've got 3 lights. And we're away. A small delay on the lights, but off they go. It's a good start from the Force India. It's a good start from the McLarens. Craig has gone backwards off the line. Here comes a Mercedes. He's gone at the inside of one Ferrari. He's hit another McLaren. He is round, and that is a disaster. That was Romeo, I think. Yeah, Romeo goes flying up the inside of the cars. Oh, going around the outside there, actually. That's right on board with him. They're side by side. It looks like the Williams does have the better straight line speed than the Ferrari. No, I think Joel's got the racing line. He's going to go hold the inside. It'll turn to the inside for the next corner. Yep, there he goes. And but that has allowed Mero and Speed Queen and Lance Stroll actually to just drive away. There's yellow in sector 2. Challenger is out as he crashed out. He's hit his teammate Romeo, actually, his Mercedes counterpart. There's contact between the Mercedes. That is not good. Mike, no, he stays out. Gamer has pit. Gamer's lost his bit of his front wing in that melee in the first part of the lap, so his strategy of starting on the softs and going long has not worked out at all. He's going to go for a set of super softs, a new front wing, in theory, and not a new front wing. They've not changed it. That's not ideal at all. Oh, they have changed. Have they changed it? No, they haven't. So, Gamer not having a great start to his evening. We're going to look at Stifler chasing down Sargent. The Renault having superior power on the Honda. Oh, he goes for it. There's a bit of contact. They're side by side as they head towards turn 5. He gets ahead. The McLaren tucks back in behind, and Nicky in the Haas, that is closing in. Yep, goes a touch wide. Yes, I think so. So, as we're watching Speed Queen, who's dropping back from Lance Stroll, I mean, Lance Stroll in that Force India is going to have the advantage at this circuit. There's no two ways about it. I mean, that Force India is superior to the McLaren at a power circuit like this, and the McLaren is also quite inferior to the Ferrari as well, and that can be seen here as Craig is right on the back of Speed Queen. Not Craig, sorry, Mero is right on the back of Speed Queen. Craig, who has actually just passed Joel, going into the final corner. We completely missed that. But, an excellent move, I'm sure, to go up the inside at the final corner. Not a usual passing place, but a very impressive move. Looking around the field, any other battles we've got going on? We've got Nicky and Stifler together. I think Stifler will probably have the advantage over Nicky because that Renault is a better car than the Haas. As Lance Stroll sets another fastest lap of the race, he is really streaking away at the front now, 2.5 seconds. But as I was saying, the Renault probably faster than the Haas. Oh, and Stifler makes a huge mistake at the first corner. This is going to make him vulnerable to the Haas as they go up the hill. DRS will be enabled, so he'll get to use it thanks to Joel, so he could defend using it as he looks up the inside before he's going to hit the Williams. Oh, there's nearly contact. I think the Williams actually saw them coming, steered out of the corner, but there is contact. Stifler gets bashed off the circuit, drops behind Sargent, and is coming under pressure from Malk now as well. We're going to see Nicky, oh, nearly hit the Williams as well, comes very close. And Sargent is waiting for the contact to happen here, and he is going to take P5 whenever he can. If the opportunity arises, Joel wide again. That Williams not looking to have great pace through the corners, as would be expected for a car like this. Oh, Nicky hits the back of the Williams. Sorry to interrupt, but Nicky's hit the back of the Williams going into the final corner. And that is going to leave him vulnerable to the McLaren of Sargent, and that's now the Renault of, oh my word, going up the inside. Sargent gets mugged. Stifler makes it 2 places in 1 corner, and now here comes Malk. They're 3 wide behind the Renault, coming up towards their hairpin. They can't brake too late or they'll hit the Renault in front of them. Looks like they will get back in line for the braking zone. Probably wise. We don't want to be risking catastrophic car failures only 6 laps into this 36 lap race, but already drivers fighting tooth and nail for every position they can get. But Nicky is now going to be at a big disadvantage with that wing damage. But it would appear that actually, looking at that past couple of laps, that Joel really doesn't have the pace. Look how much understeer he's got, using almost full lock in that Williams. And again, sliding through the corner. His tyres must not be in great condition at all. He gets him easily. He'll turn into the right-hander unless he actually runs wide, which he has done. Nowhere for Joel to go. And so Stifler into P5, and Joel has the McLaren behind him. He'll be thanking his lucky stars he's in a Williams against that McLaren. Oh, a huge slide through the first corner again. Up the hill they come. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be definitely going to be a battle of this second part of the middle sector where the corners are really of this where the corners of this track are. Because that's where, look, there you go, that's where the Williams is flawed and the McLaren can take advantage. There's a mistake from Joel, he fires it up the inside, and that is P6 for Sargent. Joel now drops to P7. Don't actually know if you can see that on the compressed 720 stream, but the tyres on that Williams are not looking good. I mean, I think Nicky, despite that front wing damage, is going to be having a go at Joel here too. Joel really not having a good time of it with those tyres. Up the inside goes Nicky, runs a little bit wide. And the Williams retakes P7 for the time being. Yeah, the tyre wear on that Williams not allowing Joel to get back up the inside, but Nicky actually makes an error. Joel runs well onto the inside curb. Somehow he's managed to catch that car, but he's gone, oh, now he's surely going round. Oh my word, the car control is incredible. He's nearly spun, he's somehow still got it on the circuit. He's surely got to come in for a new set of tyres. This is incredible. Here comes the Red Bull goes up the inside. The Williams is not in. Oh, he's chosen. He doesn't know where the pit lane goes. That's not where. No, that's not where it goes. It goes. It's the more inside road than that, Joel. But it's all right. He comes into the pits. I imagine we'll be seeing him go onto a set of soft tyres. Looks like that's what is lined up in the Williams garage. Yep, away he goes. Now, this is where the strategy that Malk chose could be coming into effect. We've got a yellow in Sector 2. What's... Oh, yep. So, as I was saying, the strategy that we were talking about of Malk to qualify on the super soft tyre might start to come to fruition now, because as these Ultras wear, sort of laps 9, 10 and 11, the Ultra Softs are going to wear out, they're going to slow down, whereas the Supers will still have a bit of life left in them, so we could be seeing Malk making up some time, not to mention the damage on that Haas as well is going to cost him time on track and in the pit stops. So was it a wise call for Malk to go onto the Supers? It just about avoids the back of a Haas, who slows down to dive into the pits at the last minute, and he moves into P6. It's the Supers he goes for. No softs. This game is just appalling. On it goes. Yeah, the number 71 numbered front wing. Heads on, set of soft tyres, so he'll be going a fair way into this race. I imagine. No, it's super softs. This game, it's now decided he's on Supers. I really don't know. I'll be honest, I'm not really sure what tyres he's on. Yeah, now this is interesting. These two are now in a battle for position in the pit stop window. They are not going to want to hold each other up, and neither of them pit this lap, so they're staying out another lap. Mero's slow. Mero's not got great pace there. He's losing time through those corners. But this is interesting. Craig is going to want to get past the other Ferrari here. Oh, and straight on goes Mero. That is not ideal for him. He's going to want to... There we go. Well, he's done that. What he was probably aiming to do, which is pass the other Ferrari so he can get pit priority, not get held in the pits, and not have to be forced to stay out an extra lap. Oh, a huge slide out of the hairpin, and that's it. That's his teammate gone there. You know, we often find in this sort of section of the race that the drivers spread out a little bit, and they'll tend to converge after the second pit stop, or sort of a little bit later on. I would imagine so. Well, that's interesting. So that's... Well, I'm not sure. Maybe he's aiming for a one-stop on the Ultras to go to the softs and not have to stop again. There's now 24 laps left in this race, so to go double the length of your Ultra Soft stint on the softs is probably possible, but it's just about pace now. He's dropping a lot of the time. He's now 12 seconds behind Speed Queen, and he's dropped 4 tenths in just one in the single corner first sector. So he's really not on the pace. But if he can save himself a pit stop, it might just work to his favour. Yeah. Well, that Sauber is an absolute I mean, it's just a boat. There's no other word for it. I drove it a little bit last season, and it is utterly horrible. Anyone driving it and sort of producing any kind of results with it is very impressive, because it really just does. It's got nothing going for it. It's got a 2016 engine in it. It's the heaviest of the cars. It's aerodynamically inefficient. It's impossible to set up because it doesn't work with Mercedes setups from time trial. Taking a look actually at the pits, Sargent has come in, and so has Mero. He's come in before his teammate, and his teammate is not fast at the moment because of those worn Ultrasofts. So I think we could be seeing a Ferrari switch around again here via means of undercuts as opposed to on-track pass. And I think now Craig will want to come in. Lance Stroll comes in. Speed Queen stays out, so Speed Queen is going to lead at least a lap here, I think. Craig looking to be coming in. Oh, huge lock-up. Yep, in he comes. Takes the correct pit road this time. Very early slow down, making sure he hits his mark. Stifler goes out, stays out for another lap, sorry. Yet here comes Craig, and he's going for the softs. So I think Craig is looking to go to the end. It's not the yet, it is the softs this game. And so Lance Stroll has gone for the softs as well, so he will be looking to go to the end. I think all of the sort of top 5, or the net top 5. There's Mike exiting. Craig is just about going to get ahead, but he's not got the acceleration off the corner. He'll be using Rich Mix to try and defend, but I think his Ferrari teammate's going to get it. But there is the line. They just crossed over for DRS detection. Oh my word! Nearly hits the back of the Red Bull, and his teammate Craig nearly hits the back of Mero. They both got DRS. Craig getting DRS on Mero getting DRS on Mike there. So, and Mike lets him through. Yeah, so he's clearly battling his own race. He does not want to get in the way of these Ferrari boys who are battling very hard indeed. Is Mike going to do the same for Craig? He's not. Interestingly, he is not letting. He's letting one Ferrari through, but not the other, which is an intriguing decision to say the least. Is he going to let him through here? This is probably the most usual place to let him through. He does not. Craig then looking up the inside into turn 8. Nope, or turn 9 I suppose it is now. And Mero's getting away, although Mero makes a big mistake at the final corner. Stifler in the pits on the softs. There he is coming out of the pits. You can just see him on the right of the screen from Craig's onboard. He is going to come out ahead of Mero. So Stifler now into P4. Speed Queen has gone for the supers to try and get to the end on. That is an impressive strategy call. She reckons, oh, there's a yellow in sector 1 who has crashed out at the first corner, because there's only one place you can do it. It is Joel. Joel is round in the Williams. That is not what he was looking for. And he's now going to be under pressure from Gamer for the last points paying position. So as we're saying, that a midfield battle is starting to unravel here. We've got Stifler, Mero, Craig, Mike and Sargent all very close together here, sort of just under 2 seconds covering the lot of them. Up the inside goes Sargent on Mike, not quite. Who is that? That is Malk backing off. He's had a trip to the gravel looking at the state of his tyres, so he is going to be coming in, I would imagine. Yeah, there he goes. Oh, and Mike hits the inside curb. Yep. So Stifler's pulling away a little bit from the Ferraris. Craig not quite catching up to the back of his teammate, perhaps as he would have liked. We'll have to see how this battle unfolds. Of course, Mero with the lap older tyres, that will probably come into effect a little bit more at the end of the race. Yeah, so now let's take a look quickly at the gap between Speed Queen and Lance Stroll. So Speed Queen is on the supers, means she'll probably have better raw pace. Of course, in a McLaren, that's not ideal anyway. But those tyres will wear out faster. There's 19 laps still left in this race. So I'm not entirely sure if Speed Queen's strategy call is going to pay off unless Lance Stroll makes an error. So actually, I was saying she wasn't making any time up, but actually in the last sector, Mero's, oh dearie me, there's contact at the second to last corner. I was just saying actually, we were talking about how Speed Queen wasn't making up any difference, but actually in the final sector she made up nearly half a second, but then the McLaren bleeds it all away in the first sector again. Yeah. So, a bit of work for Mero to do. We've got Gamer back in the pits, now back down to P12. He's knocked the end off his front wing again. He's going for some ultras. They're not going to go 18 laps to the end. I guess he's just going to do a bit of time trial now. And hoping possibly for a couple of retirements, a couple of incidents to try and boost him back into the points if he can manage it. Yeah, so it's a short lap, so we'll see. Those cars who perhaps aren't quite on the pace will get lapped pretty early on. I mentioned the weather earlier at the start of the race. It's still overcast, no signs of rain yet. And I think if there were signs of rain, the drivers wouldn't have gone for those longest final stints. Would have stayed with the softer tyres to get to the rain, I would imagine. Yes, so he is. Through this middle sector though, there's quite a lot of dirty air that comes into effect. There's a lot of understeer for the following car. However, it doesn't seem to be affecting Craig actually. He comes right up the back of the Renault through that complex of corners. Oh, Craig makes an error. Catches an outside wheel on the curb heading into the final corner, locks up, drops a second in that mistake, and he's got a lot of work to do all over again, having been making inroads on the Renault that looked like they were leading to a pass. Not ideal for him. Absolutely, well, every corner counts. There's only 10 of them on this track, so it really is of very high importance that the drivers nail each and every one, because while you can gain a lot of time by nailing them, you can lose a lot of time with very small mistakes, as we've just seen there. The yellow in sector 1, someone's crashed at the first corner. I think it's Joel again. Yeah, Joel has taken a trip to the well, what appears to be the short circuit. Not ideal for him. After a pretty strong qualifying, a few incidents have really left him languishing down in P11, not in a position to score any points at the moment. Let's see if he can recover at all from that. big slide for Prix coming out of the hairpin. Prix not really making any inroads on Stifler again since that mistake. Maybe a couple of tenths here and there, but nothing too major at the moment. And if we look back, we've got Sargent in the McLaren and Mero in that other Ferrari slowly starting to close in. Actually, they're again converging after that battle that sort of left them spread out. They are closing back in. Yeah, again, it's catching that curb on the exit of the corners really unsettles the car. You get one side of the car that accelerates nicely off the tarmac, and the other side that doesn't go anywhere because it's on the curb. And if you've got a locked diff, like a lot of these guys run with, sort of 100% diff, then you just end up with the car firing itself towards the inside of the circuit, and there's not really a lot you can do about it. Oh, my word. He's going to let him through. I think that's probably fair. So, Gamer on the Ultras. I'm intrigued now to see just what one of the top drivers of IRL can do with a complete boat that is like a Sauber on Ultras at a track like this. Can he make any inroads on the 1 minute... Was it a 1 minute 9.7 the fastest lap currently, I think. So, Mike finally comes in. And he's going to do 13 laps on the Ultras to close this out. He's got a 5 second stop go, I think. Or he just waited a very long time to leave the pits. But Mike now on the Ultras, he's going to drop to probably P10. I don't think I can see the Sauber or the Williams approaching in the shot. So he's going to be on quick tyres in a quick car. Can he make any inroads? He's got about 11 seconds to the cars in front. So if he can make up some of that time in the remaining 13 laps, then he could be looking to score a couple of extra points. He has indeed actually pulled out a little bit on Sargent, so a couple of good laps strung together by the Ferrari driver, it seems. Take a look at the championship actually. Craig is currently P12 in the championship. He's got 19 points. Hasn't scored a finish better than P6 so far this season. So I'm sure he'll be looking to try and improve upon that with this battle for the podium position. Talking about other drivers that we've got in this race, Speed Queen currently in second, championship leader. In order to win the title needs a... needs to outscore Sargent by in fact Sargent needs to outscore her by 1 point in order to win this championship, I believe. So in order to stop Speed Queen winning the title, so I think we could actually be seeing Speed Queen take the championship honours this time round. Sargent in 5th, she's in 2nd, so that would pull the gap out to 41 points, and with 3 rounds to go after that, I believe that would wrap the championship up. Malk is in 3rd. He is currently level with Stifler, so for him to see Stifler in 3rd currently and him down in 8th, that's not ideal for his championship fight. Mike currently in 10th, he's 5th in the title. Not an ideal race for him. Mero, the other Ferrari, is P6 in the championship, P6 in this race. Mama Fisher, I don't believe, is in this race. Vinny Vidivici, no longer a driver, I don't believe. Nicky is 9th in the title. He currently runs 7th. And in P10 is the race leader, Lance Stroll, currently not currently without a finish better than 4th. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Speed Queen's tyres really going off now. I don't think there's a lot to be gained from those supers anymore. So Lance Stroll with only a finish of 4th at Suzuka would actually move up quite a few places in the championship battle, I believe, because the cars in front of him aren't scoring that well. I think he moved from 10th into 7th place, so that would certainly be a boost for his championship campaign. Yeah, as you were saying, sorry. Oh my word, I think, oh, and he spun, he's lost it, he's knocked the end of his front wing off, he's stuck in neutral, he finally grabs reverse, he doesn't want to pull out in front of his teammate, comes back across the circuit, and Craig, as I was saying, didn't have a finish better than 7th so far this season, 6th, sorry, doesn't look like he is going to get that today, drops to 7th place, he'll probably come in for a new wing. And that is really unfortunate for him, just as he was looking to have the measure of Stifler potentially start to make a challenge in the last part of this race. He unfortunately drops the car in the exit of the hairpin, causes quite a bit of damage, and that is his battle for the podium over. And now we're going to see Sargent start to close in on Stifler. I was actually going to say, I think based on how these guys were, the gap was sort of moving between the sectors, I think the Renault of Stifler is running a much lower downforce setup than Craig was in the Ferrari. Because usually the Renault, not a fast car in a straight line, and it's not compared to a Ferrari engine car, so I think yeah, a low downforce setup on the Renault, and that is not going to help Sargent in the McLaren, who needs all the straight line help he can get. And if the Renault's running low downforce and the Ferrari couldn't keep up, then I don't think the McLaren is going to have much hope here. Any battles going on down the field? We've got Romeo coming up on the back of Malk for P7. So it's going to be Mercedes versus Red Bull for 7th place. 7th place earns 4 points in this league. So and 8th only garnering 3. So a point difference, but it's all to play for when it comes to a championship like this. So sort of 1.2 seconds the gap between the Red Bull and the Mercedes. Not really a lot happening there. It's sort of, I mean, as with the characteristics of the car in the first sector, the Mercedes has a bit of an advantage, and through the second, it's pretty much, second and third, it's pretty much Red Bull territory. Yeah, if Joel opts not to obey blue flags, then Stifler could be pretty compromised, could end up with Sargent closing in on the back of him. Nicky gets another penalty. It's quite easy. Well, it used to be much easier on this track to get penalties. Remember F1 2015 and 2016, the strict corner cutting was absolutely, well, it was either completely ignorant of all track extending or it bit your head off. There was sort of no real middle ground. I think they sort of got it a bit better for this iteration of the series, but still it's a little bit hit and miss. And actually at this track it's still fairly easy to get pretty arbitrary time penalties for cuts at turn 1, extensions at turn 2 and the final corner. Craig goes fastest with a 109.7. So he switched to the Ultras then, after the damage. He's gone for the Ultras, pushed to the end, see if he can maybe set a fastest lap, still pick up the point, and hope for the best. Oh, lockups into the hairpin. So Sargent now 1.6 seconds off of Stifler, so he's slowly bringing the gap down. There's 6 laps left. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to close it enough and make the pass with that car, but he's definitely giving it a go. Yeah, the gap about 1.5 seconds. There's not really many other battles going on at the moment. So we've got 5 laps to go at the end of this one. And the field sort of spread out a little bit now after the quite intense battles early on. Not a lot more occurring here, as it's been more of a strategy game this time, as is sort of expected at Austria. Quite a strategy heavy circuit with the high tyre wear, the short laps. Yeah, so it's not looking particularly positive for Sargent at the moment. Actually, Stifler made an error there. There's a huge cloud of smoke, thinking there was a lockup, and now Sargent again closes a touch, sort of 1.5 seconds the gap. It's not ideal. Yeah, see that it's 1.4 seconds, but he was going to drop time going down this front straight. There's a bit of traffic to stifle up ahead, I think. Yeah, it's the Williams of Joel again, so we hope he'll jump out the way nice and quickly. You don't want back markers hindering the races of the guys at the front. It's promoted Craig into P9 now. So an extra point for him, but really that's little consolation for what could have been, having been battling for the podium for so long. I don't think Sargent has a lot more to give though in this sort of cat and mouse battle. I think the gap is sort of stabilised at 1.5, 1.6 seconds and nothing else is really being made of it. Yeah, just a little. I think it's that the strengths of the McLaren are definitely through that middle and final sector. The good chassis, potentially a higher downforce setup on Sargent's car, aiding him through there, but it's along these straights that Renault does pull away again. Yeah. Yeah, so as you can see there now, the gap down to 1.2 seconds through this section, and now it's going to be even closer, I think. 1.1, coming up to just a second. If the McLaren can nail this section of the circuit, he might just about get within DRS range with 2 laps to go. Or rather 1 lap to go, actually, at the end of this one. Is he close enough? Not quite. It's 1.2 seconds. He's going to need one hell of a first corner in order to really have any chance at this. Joel is slowing down, but not jumping out of the way. He's a little bit hindering Stifler a little bit through the first corner, but I don't think it's enough. No, Sargent is going to drop away again along this second straight. Sorry, won't get DRS, and unless Stifler makes an almighty error, I think he might have this one. There's actually another lap to go. I misread that. That was actually, we just briefly saw on Sargent's car there, the fuel light illuminated ever so slightly, indicates he's not got much in the tank reserve to burn in an attacking drive. So depending on the situation with Stifler's Renault engine, he might be at a disadvantage in that area as well. Joel is still sort of holding his ground. He's not really, he doesn't really have any need to move. He's still far enough ahead of the Renault that he's not holding him up too much, and his pace is decent because he's on the super soft. So the gap now just under a second as they come under the bridge at the first at the start finish line, sorry, round the first corner. But now the McLaren's going to bleed time again. Romeo's at the fastest lap. It's a 108.5. He's come in set for a set of ultras on that Mercedes car. It's a pretty formidable combination. Now Stifler right up behind the Williams, and I think he's actually going to get DRS off of it. Yes, he does. So that is pretty much it for Sargent's battle. If he'd managed to grab DRS, he would have potentially had an attacking attempt in the final sector, but no. Unless this Williams holds the Renault up monumentally in the last sector, I think that is game over for this battle here. No one else around the field really having any battles. Yeah, I think, yeah, maybe a couple of extra, but I think actually overall he was perhaps marginally quicker, but I think Stifler just had a little bit too much. He's actually made an error at the final corner. I think actually maybe with one more lap he would have been alright. Across the line they come then. It's Lance Stroll who takes the win. Speed Queen is second and will secure the championship as far as I'm aware. Stifler is third and Sargent is fourth. Mero takes home 5th place. I believe Nicky will take home 6th. Yep. It's Malk driving home in 7th place. Mike in the other Red Bull comes home 8th. It's disappointment for Craig for P9 after battling for the podium all race long. Gamer salvages a point from a pretty disastrous race, and I mean, to make an extra 2 pit stops and have to change your wing to finish only a minute off the lead is probably a fairly solid effort. Yeah, it was quite an interesting one there. There's your podium. So Lance, that's confirmation then. Lance Stroll from pole wins the race by 12 seconds from newly crowned champion Speed Queen. Speed Queen takes 10 points there to increase her tally to 92. It's third place for Stifler. That's good for him. He'll move ahead of Malk in the championship to go third. Sargent is fourth. and sadly becomes runner-up in the championship. It's Mero takes home P5, that's good for his championship. Nicky is 6th, a solid result. Malk takes 7th, not ideal for him. Craig unfortunately is 8th. Mike down to 9th thanks to penalties. Gamer is 10th. Joel, Romeo and Challenger do not score points, they do not finish the race. Challenger does not finish the race. And there you go. I don't think I'll be returning to the commentary box next week. I think you'll probably have a different commentator alongside Apollo next week. But that was the Invictus Racing League No Assists Tier Austrian Grand Prix, round 9 of this 12-round championship. Just 3 rounds to go. Up next is the Belgian Grand Prix from Spa, so those poor McLaren drivers are going to be in a right mess. But until the next one, I'll be back on Wednesday for Equal Performance F1. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.